Hello, everyone. So today we are going to move on to 7.2. We're going to spend 2 days on this, so we're going to go over kind of the day one stuff today, and we'll go over a little bit more complicated problems on Monday. All right, so we did adding and subtracting polynomials yesterday. Those are easy enough. It's basically just combining your like terms, but with multiplying, it gets a little bit more complicated, okay? It's something we haven't really done all together. You maybe have seen it before. You have to keep in mind that you've got to multiply each term by each other term in your polynomial, okay? The easiest, for a lot of people, the easiest method is to do what we call this FOIL method. A lot of us have maybe seen that before. It's kind of just a mnemonic device to make sure that you don't forget any terms, okay? The key with this is it only works if you have two binomials. So it works with all the problems I'm going to give you today. I'm only going to give you two binomials today. But on Monday, we're going to move on to some kind of harder problems with trinomials. And then the mnemonic isn't really going to work. The method itself kind of works. The pattern kind of works. But you're going to have to do a little bit more multiplying. Okay, so let me show you what I kind of mean here. Okay, so this FOIL is really just kind of a way for you to remember the process here. Let's say you've got these two different binomials. You've got x plus 1 and you've got x plus 2, right? First, you have your first terms, okay? So the first in 1 over the first in the other. Let me try and be creative here with my colors. Okay, so first and first. Okay, it has this right here. X times x gives me x squared. Okay, so let me write this down here. I've got x squared. Okay, then I want to move on. Next one is outer terms. Okay, think of those like your little outside terms that we have here, the x and the 2. Okay, I have a pink. Okay, so x and 2 I'm going to multiply together now. Okay, x times 2. That's the same thing as 2x. Okay, so when I'm writing out all my terms, if I have a positive term, I'm going to say plus. Okay, plus, I want to use this all here. Okay, so I'm going to say plus 2x. Okay, you don't just want to say, 2x, just write it next to it. Okay, plus 2x. Obviously, if it's a negative, you're going to write minus 2x. Right? Then we have our inner terms. Okay, so that 1 and that second x, that's what we mean by inner terms. Okay. Okay, so 1 and x. Okay, I've got that right here. 1 times x is just going to be x. Okay, don't be afraid if it's easier to write 1x, just write 1x. All right, if it's going to keep you from making an algebra mistake, there's nothing wrong with writing 1x. Right? So that gets us FOI, and then our L stands for last. Let me come up with another color here. Okay, last. So my 1, I did the wrong thing. My 1 and my 2 are my last terms. Okay, last. Okay, so 1 times 2. Okay, 1 times 2 is 2. So I'm going to write, plus 2. Okay, that's really it. Some of us maybe have seen that before. Again, if not, that's really all there is to it. It's just a way to remember, right, that the first thing has to multiply the first, the first term in the first polynomial has to multiply the first term in the second, and it has to multiply the second term in the second. The second term in the first has to multiply the first and the second. Basically, it's saying everything has to multiply everything else. Okay? And the easy way to remember to do that is to use this little mnemonic. First terms, outer terms, inner terms, and last terms. Okay? And we're almost done, but whenever we do this, we're going to end up with some like terms right here in the middle. Okay, these just plain x terms usually are what they're going to be. All right, so we always want to think, okay, is there anything I can combine? And usually there is going to be something. So here I've got x squared plus 3x, okay, 2x and 1x, and then just the 2, okay? If you make sure you have this really down and you can just do this kind of automatically, this will help you as we move through this chapter. This is like the core of everything we're doing with factoring. Factoring is basically when we start with this and find the two binomials. So if you can go this direction, okay, if you can start with the binomials and go here, okay, you'll be able to factor. Okay, but we won't get to that for a week or two. Alrighty. So let's go over, I want to maybe do one or two of these, and then I can show you the grid method. Some people like doing the grid. A lot of people don't like it. I'm really not someone who cares what method you use to do something, but for some people, FOIL just is not it. I'll show you how to do the grid method. Okay, but let's just do one more quick one with FOIL. All right, let's do number 4 here. Get some negatives in here. All right, so first, okay, a times 2a, that's going to be 2a squared. Great, my phone is ringing. I'm going to pause this. All right, we'll see if I can remember where we were. All right, we were talking, okay, we were doing the first terms. Here we go. A and 2a, we know that's going to be 2a squared. 2a squared. Okay, that a times a is a squared, and then we would multiply whatever both of those coefficients are. We just have the one coefficient. All right, so 2a squared, okay, FOIL. So then I have outer, that's the a and the 5. Okay, a times 5 is going to be positive 5a. Right, now we've got inner. I like to do these underneath so it doesn't get too messy. Okay, so negative 1 times 2a, and that's going to be negative 2a. Right? Last one, last, so negative 1 and positive 5, that's going to be negative 5. Okay, and then that last step is really almost always going to be combining those middle two terms. So 2a squared, a positive 5 and negative 2, that's positive 3a, and then negative 5 at the end, right? So for some of us, FOIL is awesome. That's how we like to think. It makes sense to us. Some of us, we think that FOIL is kind of confusing. Some people really prefer this table or grid method. This is not one of those things where I'm going to say, oh, on this problem use FOIL, or on this problem use, a table or a grid. This is one of those things where you decide for yourself what makes the most sense. What is easier for you? The one thing about the table that is nice is you can kind of modify it as we go into these more difficult problems like we will on Monday. You can easily modify a table to be as many terms as you need. Some people, they find them confusing. Again, it's whatever is easiest for you. I'm going to do number 7 because I want to get as many of these negatives as we can. Right? So the way you do this table, and most of the time you're not going to just have it written out for you. Okay, so sometimes what I would do is like draw out a little box. Okay, and then just on the outsides, write your terms. Okay, so over here, I'm going to have x and then -3. Over here on this top, I'm going to have x and -2. Okay, so I have it written out for me. I can write x and -3 in the little box. Okay, x and -2 over here. However you want to write it out is fine. Okay, there's just a couple different ways that I've seen it. And essentially what you want to do is say, okay, well, in this box right here, I'm going to have the x times the x. Right? X times x. Well, that's going to be x squared. Okay, and keep doing the same thing. Well, I've got x and -3. Well, that's going to be -3x. That's kind of hard to read. Okay, -3x. Okay, in this box, we're doing -2 and x, so -2x. And then I've got -2 times -3, that's +6. Okay, the thing with this method is now you kind of have to turn it back into a polynomial after it's all in the box. Okay, so I like to write it all out. So x squared, I've got -3x, I've got -2x, and a +6. Okay, and then just that last step of combining those two middle terms. So x squared -5x plus 6. Right? That's going to be your final answer. Some people love the grid, some people hate it. It really is just a matter of how your brain works. Okay? Either one of them works, either one of them is going to get you that same answer. Okay? Go ahead, start working through some of those problems, and I will see you guys later.